Stanley Kubrick, born on July 26, 1928, in New York City, grew up in the Bronx. His father was a doctor and his mother was a homemaker. Kubrick struggled in school, often absent and ranked low in his class despite his intelligence. He found no interest in academics and didn't read for pleasure until he was 19. Initially, Kubrick dreamed of being a baseball player or writer, but he turned to photography in high school, joining the school paper and eventually selling photos to Look magazine. By age 17, he was working for the magazine full-time. His passion for photography naturally evolved into an interest in filmmaking. In 1950, Stanley Kubrick made a short documentary about the build-up to a boxing match titled Day of the Fight, 1951, released by RKO. After that, Kubrick left Look magazine, started auditing classes at Columbia University, became an avid reader, and fully committed to filmmaking. At 25, Kubrick directed his first films, Fear and Desire and Killer's Kiss, already showcasing his extraordinary talent for cinematography. He made his first feature film, Fear and Desire, 1953, with financial help from his father and uncle. This low-budget war film was followed by Killer's Kiss, 1955, a boxing-themed noir romance. With positive reviews for Killer's Kiss, Kubrick partnered with producer James B. Harris to form Harris-Kubrick Productions. United Artists then funded Kubrick's next film, The Killing, 1956, a heist movie with a non-linear narrative that became an important film noir classic. Kubrick's next project, Paths of Glory, 1957, marked a major step forward. With an $850,000 budget. It told the story of a doomed French military attack during World War I. Despite its critical success, the film didn't perform well at the box office. Kubrick took on multiple roles during production, including operating the handheld camera for some of the iconic tracking shots.
Probably very well tempered by the somewhat cynical observation that poor and mediocre pictures might just as well prove successful as their pictures of higher value. Television has changed this completely, and I think that despite the unhappy financial upheaval that it has caused in the movie industry, it has also provided a very invigorating and stimulating challenge, which has made it necessary for films to be made with more sincerity and more daring.
After a failed collaboration with Marlon Brando on One-Eye Jacks, 1961, Kubrick was asked by Kirk Douglas to direct Spartacus, 1960, taking over for Anthony Mann. Although Spartacus was a critical and commercial success, Kubrick had little creative control, making it his least personal film. Despite this, its grand storytelling, written by Dalton Trumbo, and a talented cast including Laurence Olivier, Peter Ustinov, and Charles Laughton, solidified Kubrick's growing reputation in Hollywood. Kubrick's experience with photography gave him an incredible eye for detail, and he became known for perfecting every aspect of lighting, composition, and camera work. He understood technical settings like aperture and f-stop instinctively, a skill that earned him a reputation as a cinematic genius. When it came to Lolita, casting was a meticulous process, especially in finding the right actress for the titular role. Sue Lyne's enigmatic presence convinced Kubrick she could carry the complexities of Lolita's character. Similarly, James Mason was a natural choice for Humbert, embodying a mix of vulnerability, sophistication, and romanticism. The challenge in making Lolita lay in its delicate balance between comedy and tragedy, which Kubrick masterfully navigated. In regard to his filmmaking philosophy, Kubrick believed in the personal involvement of the audience, which he achieved through the visual medium. He saw films as a means of creating emotional involvement unlike any other art form, and his dedication to editing his own work reflects his commitment to ensuring the final product was a reflection of his vision. Kubrick also touched on his admiration for directors like Bergman and Fellini, who despite their different styles created deeply personal films. His thoughts on using music on set to evoke emotion highlight how much he cared about capturing authentic feelings, and his actors showing the lengths he would go to maintain the emotional integrity of the scene. Rumors about the inspiration for Dr. Strangelove, a character in Stanley Kubrick's 1964 film, have circulated for decades. Edward Teller, the psychist who worked with Robert Oppenheimer on the atomic bomb and later developed the hydrogen bomb, was often cited as the real Dr. Strangelove. Teller, however, strongly rejected this comparison, even angrily denying any connection in interviews. Despite this, Teller's fearsome reputation persisted, especially after he became associated with President Reagan's Star Wars defense initiative in the 1980s. Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, played by Peter Sellers, is an unforgettable figure representing the absurdity of nuclear war. Kubrick, inspired by Peter George's novel Red Alert, initially struggled with whether to make a serious film about nuclear war, but ultimately chose a satirical route. The character of Dr. Strangelove, conceived as a White House Rasputin, became central to Kubrick's vision of the comic absurdity of modern warfare. While several real-life figures have been proposed as inspirations for Strangelove, including mathematician John von Neumann, strategist Herman Kahn, rocket scientist Wernher von Braun, and foreign policy expert Henry Kissinger, Kubrick never confirmed a direct link. Sellers claim to have drawn from von Braun's background and other influence like Austrian-American photographer Weegee and the character Rot Lang from Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Thus, the origins of Dr. Strangelove remain speculative, with the character embodying a blend of traits from various influential figures of the Cold War era. In essence, Kubrick's career is marked by his insistence on creative control and a profound understanding of film as an art form that evokes personal and emotional involvement from the audience, which is why his work remains highly influential. One of Kubrick's greatest achievements was 2001: A Space Odyssey, which pushed the boundaries of film techniques, particularly in special effects. He used innovative methods like match cuts and precisely synchronized camera movements to create groundbreaking visuals. Scenes involving spaceships were shot with meticulous precision, using custom-built equipment that allowed the camera to repeat movements identically, creating seamless effects. The film's space scenes were shot at extremely slow frame rates to achieve the illusion of a massive spacecraft moving in deep space, with careful attention to depth of field and lighting. Kubrick also devised clever ways to hide the wires supporting actors in zero-gravity scenes, using black velvet backdrops and filming from strategic angles. His contributions to cinema, particularly in special effects and cinematography, have had a lasting influence on filmmaking.
Excitement of its early days, with Rolls-Royces and leopard skin seat covers. I think, on the other hand, it provides the most exciting and stimulating atmosphere of opportunity and possibilities for young people today.
The construction of the giant centrifuge set for 2001: A Space Odyssey is one of the film's most impressive technical achievements, designed to simulate artificial gravity aboard the Discovery spacecraft. This space-going Ferris wheel was built by Vickers Armstrong's engineering group, measuring 38 feet in diameter and 10 feet wide. It cost $750,000 to build and featured fully functional astronaut bunks, consoles, and hibernation chambers. Cinematographer Jeffrey Unsworth worked closely with Kubrick to solve lighting challenges using strip lights along the centrifuge walls. Unsworth often shot with his lens wide open due to limited light. To ensure correct exposure, he took over 10,000 Polaroid photos to test lighting setups, giving him a quick and accurate way to adjust the balance before shooting the actual scenes. In 2001: A Space Odyssey, the monoliths are mysterious black tablets that seem to push humanity forward in its evolution. When the apes encounter the first monolith, they become more organized and start using tools, like bones, for weapons. The second monolith is found on the moon, pointing towards Jupiter as if guiding humanity deeper into space. In the book by Arthur C. Clarke, the monoliths are teaching devices, but in Kubrick's films, their purpose is more mysterious. Still, they seem to help us evolve. One of the theories suggests that monoliths represent movie screens. Just like how the monoliths transmitted knowledge to the apes, the movie screens transmit information to us. The light from the screen is like the glow on astronaut Dave's face as he's sent into the unknown. But do the monoliths actually push us forward? To answer that, let's think about what movies do. Films let us look at ourselves and reflect on our experiences. In his book, Prometheus Rising, Robert Anton Wilson talks about how our brains work in stages, shaping how we see the world. For example, when we're young, we see everything as either safe or dangerous, and later we focus on control and power. Wilson believes that by understanding these stages, we can break out of our limited perspectives and live more freely. Kubrick said editing is unique to film. It lets us see different perspectives almost at the same time. In the final stage of the movie, Dave moves through a strange room, aging rapidly. He watches himself from a distance, like scenes edited together in a film. The monolith gives him a new perspective, letting him see his life from the outside. This reflects Kubrick's idea that film, like the monolith, is a tool for understanding our own growth and place in the universe. When Dave reaches full understanding at the end, he becomes a star child, a glowing fetus floating in space. This idea connects to philosopher Nietzsche, who described 3 stages of growth: the camel, who carries cultural values; the lion, who rebels against them; and the child, who creates new values. The child represents the ability to play, experiment, and create. Kubrick seems to suggest that, like children, we can evolve by seeing ourselves from a new perspective and choosing how to shape our lives, like editing a film.